Hi.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
It was so sudden. Just hi.
Hello.
Welcome, women of the Rel at GitHub. It's such an epic square.
Yeah,
course.
that is us. Everybody, wear your sunglasses in solidarity with us.
Mhm.
So, for those of you who don't know who we are,
We're spies,
we're
clearly.
spies.
Yep.
Clearly, but welcome to Open Source Friday. Praven, when will it start? It started now, my friend. We're here. We are here.
Hello. Hello.
And we're wearing sunglasses in solidarity, Cassidy. Cassidy, why were you wearing
I
sunglasses?
have
to begin
pink
with?
eye. Woo! Oh, to have toddlers at home. But no, it
Oh.
is because the future of open source is so bright that
We
I
need
have-
shades.
yeah.
We've got to have shades.
Or something about light mode. I don't know. There's a few jokes that we can make in here.
I mean, before you join, you missed my commentary on how I started recently to do a trombone. So that's like a fun thing, right? When you gotta like another super fun thing that started happening is my eyes hurt on dark mode sometimes.
Dang, you got to
yeah.
do purple mode. Have you heard about that?
No.
If
Do tell.
your eyes start to not like dark mode, you should switch to purple before switching to light because that like helps your eyeballs. I'm not a scientist. I read about it at one point and I was like, okay.
Okay, but explain to me, what is purple mode?
It's literally just a color scheme that is more purple.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like make your background purple instead of just straight up white.
Okay, nice. All right. I mean, I can do that. Purple is my favorite color, but no, this is good to know.
Yeah, it supposedly helps you if your eyes get like that
Strain.
astigmatism strain sort of thing on dark mode. Yeah,
I love that. Well, welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here in this last minute Open Source Friday. I can't.
I know. I was thinking.
I gotta be a big quitter and quit Team Sunglass right now.
Dang it.
Because I need to be able to see, and and for that I need my sunglasses. So, well, I thought we'd take the time. So we were gonna have a guest today, and listen, it's the season of the acquisitions.
I know.
And our guest parent company, the product was acquired recently or entered an acquisition agreement with NVIDIA.
Oh, good for them.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said, get paid.
I was going to say, congratulations on being rich. We love this for you.
Can you share?
Precisely.
Exactly.
No, but genuinely huge congrats.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Let's hope that means more money for open source coming from NVIDIA as well. So I am here for it. So we had to sort of take the opportunity to actually come together and then do a quick chat. And I thought it would be cool to do like our hopes and dreams for open source this year. And then whatever else all of you want to talk about. I don't know. Do we want to talk about third party things that are happening on the internet?
I actually have a question for you all, just as like a retro for 2025.
Yes, let's do it.
What surprised you in the industry this year?
Oh, what surprised me in the industry? People so salty. No, I'm just kidding.
That was always going to happen. That should never be a surprise.
The saltiness of some people. Let's think. Wow. Like what? Like a good surprise or bad surprise?
In general, so something you did not expect.
I think something that surprised me were developers actually starting to like AI coding assistants.
Yeah.
So do you remember?
I heard them, yes.
There's still
like
a lot of that, but yeah.
I know, but like towards mid-year, end of the year, it became less I'm like, oh.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that. Yeah, because like I think that what we've seen happen over the last couple of years is, and to your point, Cassie, there is still a lot of like which understandable. People can have their opinions, and some people are gonna hate things for valid reasons and sometimes for maybe less valid reasons. People can have whatever opinions they have. But I think a lot of it was that, like, if you started using, coding assistants or AI coding tools, say like 3 or 4 years ago, your experience versus where it was the middle of the year and the end of the year are going to be very, very different. Right. And the types of code that can be created and the way that it can, what it can unlock and what it can do, I think when people start to go, oh, okay, so this can actually really solve things for me or can do things for me in a way that I didn't expect it to before. I think then you see people start to go, okay, I'm not going to be as reflexively, I hate this, because now this is actually, I can see value in this. Whereas, if I was talking about something 2 years ago, I'm like, okay, this is fancy autocomplete. I don't like this. This is making me uncomfortable. And now it's like, I might still be uncomfortable, but this also let me produce something that works pretty well, much more quickly.
So is it because we got better at using it, or because it got better itself?
I mean, probably
I think
both,
the models got significantly better.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I think it's probably a little of both, but I think it's the biggest thing is the models improving so much.
Fair. I present to you my contrarian view of the day. I like 2 a.m. the other night, I read this tweet and I wrote an article about it. I'm going to share it with y'all. Because have you heard of that salmon theory? It was like a study where they like put a salmon in an MRI machine and no, it's okay. So I don't want to paraphrase it because I actually put a lot of thought into it. I'm going to find it but continue while I find it and I will share it. But basically the bottom line of the multiple random round, it's that it really doesn't matter. The model choice doesn't matter as much as how it's calibrated. And like we always say, like trash in, trash out, right? But the salmon, okay, it's called the salmon. And why? The salmon, the fish. Okay, so neuroscientists put a dead Atlantic salmon in an MRI scanner, and they show it in pictures of humans in social situations and ask it to determine what emotion the people were feeling. And the scanner detected brain activity. Well, the salmon, obviously, is not, it's dead, but it appeared to be thinking, right? But it wasn't thinking. It was
the
just random noise.
Appeared to be thinking?
Yes, according to like the feedback that this MRI machine was getting. So it wasn't real activity, it was just noise. But basically it just kind of proves the point that without like proper control, like the tools start to find patterns that don't really exist.
Right.
I see.
Yes, because similar to the article that Cassie, actually you just published. Let's share that, please. Because that's the study. I'm going to share my Dev2 article. But I mean, the bottom line is that I guess at the end of the day, if you have good fundamentals, build your baseline, own what you can control kind of thing, then it doesn't matter so much that you have access to the latest and greatest model. And then we can talk about fine-tuning and all that. But I do want to find the blog post from Cassidy because you did talk about that in TypeScript a little bit. I think that was part of the conversation.
Yes, and I should have pulled up that blog as soon as you mentioned it, but 1 second, I'll do that. But
thank you.
That is an interesting thing that didn't surprise me as much, but what was notable that TypeScript has basically not quite surpassed JavaScript, but kind of. It's the most popular one. There's a lot of people arguing they're the same thing, but it's types. And people are moving a lot more towards typed languages now because it gives them guardrails for their code when they aren't the ones driving all the time.
Yeah,
that was interesting. It's like
that is interesting. Yeah,
because when you don't control every single line and you're letting go of some things, at least the guardrails of typing give you some.
And isn't it part of it too that the LLMs themselves prefer the typed languages for kind of the same reasons, right? Like, so it's not just right. I mean, because for their own purposes, like if they're, because at this point, like especially when we shifted into thinking models and reasoning models, and so even though like the description of what those things are doing isn't quite accurate, when they're trying to kind of debug themselves and check their work before presenting you with a solution, they're obviously going to be able to get better results and have better debugging if what they're creating is typed versus not. So I think that's part of it too.
It's interesting. I wonder how many of you actually wrote TypeScript before we started like working with LLMs and generative code. Yeah.
It.
Like, but as a choice,
it was also like it was more like it was a default for so many frameworks that I kind of let it happen.
fair. That's
If I'm making
Mhm.
something from scratch, I prefer JavaScript just because I'm like, get out of my way. I just want to write. But at the same time, that is when I'm doing something for fun and not for like security.
Yeah.
Mm.
For me, I think it was because I started working Microsoft, obviously, like, you know, home of like TypeScript, and started working with more frameworks that used it, and it was just kind of became more like second nature versus like probably like you, Cassie. Like if I was going to just pick something up, I probably would have defaulted to JavaScript, but because I was exposed to more tools that use TypeScript and things, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. But there were a number of things that happened. I mean, not just obviously LLMs preferring it, but you know, with TypeScript being, you know, part of the ECMA standard, and a lot of parts of TypeScript and becoming part of JavaScript, I think over the last, you know, like 7-8 years, like that's obviously, I think, helped propel the change too. But I think it's impossible to deny that the big kind of surge is because a lot of the frameworks and a lot of the code that LLMs generate tends to be TypeScript.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. We have one comment from our audience. And audience, what like listener, our one, thank you for being here. Y'all, first of all, I'm sorry. Look, you know, I'm here, there, and everywhere, and I'm highly caffeinated. We have someone from Iceland watching us right now,
Wow.
and this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. Okay, so
Wow.
That's so cool.
thank you.
Hello.
I am so excited. And from Cabo Verde.
Cabo
Sounds very
Verde.
far. Sounds
Yes.
very far.
Yeah, we got people all over the world.
Everywhere,
Ecuador,
everywhere.
India.
Ecuador, everywhere. But hey, Ajay, thank you for the comment. And one thing that surprised you was this year the advancement of AI agents and their ability to automate repetitive tasks efficiently. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Reshaping the way that we work and think about productivity. Is reshaping. I think it's rewired my brain that I get annoyed very easily when things don't do what they're supposed to.
Yes.
A moment ago, I
Yes.
was complaining to Cassidy about that because I was trying to do something that I haven't looked at a particular tool in a bit. And I'm like, why doesn't this just work?
Yes.
I don't understand. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's been like an accelerator where I know for myself there are times where I'm using like just a non-AI editor for something. Like let's just say I'm making a demo in CodePen really quick. I've gotten so used to being able to be just like, oh, will you just like fix this part? And I'm like, oh, I have to write this. Okay. And it's not the end of the world, but you do get used to having that kind of assistance so that way you can just keep moving faster.
And how quickly we've become used to these
Yeah, that's been
Yeah.
surprising
No?
about
Yes,
that. Where
no.
like I still like the idea of just making everything myself because I have a problem with control. But
No.
it's nice to offload boring tasks. Like I know it's not just boring tasks, it can do all sorts of things, but as
Yeah.
someone who has a control problem, it's nice to be just like, okay, this you're allowed to do, and it just does it.
Yeah. No, but I'm with you so much, Kadesha. Like it is interesting how quickly we just kind of become used to things.
Yes.
And it's not just AI stuff. I mean, if you think about like, okay, because I'm an old, and I remember having, you know, like a cell phone before the iPhone, and like what was it like? I mean, but this is hard for me to remember. Like, what was it like trying to get around without Google Maps? Like, what was it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
We
like
were
how,
pirates. I love that.
right,
I just talked
right.
about that the other day. I'm like,
Just
I had
figured
a
it
big
out.
encyclopedia. And then if you're driving cross states, you cross, like you flip the
It was like
pages.
MapQuest, right? I remember
MapQuest,
MapQuest
yeah.
printing it
MapQuest,
out.
I was
or
gonna
you
say
just like look at a map and hope.
Yeah.
Well, right. Well, yeah, I remember like printing out like the MapQuest instructions and stuff sometimes. But I mean, but even like just walking like in my
Yeah.
like neighborhood and stuff, right? Like you
Yeah.
become so used to it that I'm like, okay, I would actually probably die if you were like, okay, we're gonna take away your phone and set you loose in a city that is not based on a grid system and tell you to go from here to here. Because even like when people like come up and like ask you like where is such and such, I'm like, I don't know. Well, do you live here? Yeah, I do, but like I have, you know, like I you know, we just become used to having these tools, and maybe
That's
that's a
so
bad
true.
thing. But I think it's also just kind of like how we just kind of assimilate with different things. And it's but with coding stuff, it is interesting just how quickly like you just expect that these features will be there, and when they're not, you really feel the pain. And what I've noticed too, and I guess maybe this is what surprised me kind of in 2025, was just how much higher my expectations have become precipitously, right? Like it went from, almost the inverse of people being like, oh, I'm surprised that I can like these tools now. For me, it's almost like, I've been using these tools for years, and I've been kind of on the train, and now my expectations for them are higher and higher and higher. And when I get a result back, or when an agent does something for me that a year ago I would have been like thrilled, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing, I just have to make these tweaks. Now I'm like, this is garbage, you need to redo this. Like, I will yell at my LLM. I'll be like, this is awful, you need to redo this. This is unacceptable, I'm not happy with this at all. Just because like what the baseline level was of like what I'm like, oh, this is good versus not, has changed so much that my expectations keep going up too.
Yeah. And I think like going back to what you said about like the GPS thing, I was a late adopter of the iPhone. I didn't have a smartphone until 2014. And so I know it was late.
Wow, Cassidy,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
And so like, for example, when I lived in Spain in 2012, I just would wander the streets and hope I found like the cafe I was going for.
Amazing.
And stuff. And that was just, I kind of liked it. And to this day, both with code and with GPSs, sometimes I'm like, I'm going to just turn it off and see where I go. And I think it's just a different type of thinking, where if I want to get things done, if I want to be efficient, I turn on the GPS, I follow it.
Right.
If I want to like take a
Explore.
long route, explore, I know generally where I'm going, I turn it off and just kind of walk. And same with code, where sometimes I'm like just exploring, figuring out, what do I want to build here? I kind of want to be creative here. And sometimes I'll turn it off and just do that. And then other times I flip it on. I'm just like, I know what I want. This will help me with this. I can write this, and just go.
I like that. I like that. I like that. Okay, have we all said what surprised us from open source?
What did you say, Andrea?
Oh, I just made jokes and talked about fish. But listen, I'm gonna say something that is not sexy, because nobody likes to talk about security. But the amount of attacks that we had last year was absolutely astonishing. Like, it was wild. And like, these attacks are not going after like code anymore. Like, we always say, like, in generally speaking, most security issues they're not human, like maliciousness. They're most errors. Like, we just messed up and did something, and then we open a door for something bad to happen. But now it's like the boring parts are even getting attacked, the package publishing. Like, it was a bad year for packages and security. I feel like that sort of blast radius has been expanded so much. And I don't know if we're extra aware of it. More people are writing code. More people are introducing this type of issues.
That's true. People are realizing the value of thinking about security and accessibility first.
Yeah. Yes. And I think it's too, like, a lot of security experts had been kind of, banging the drum for years, even before the, some of the bigger supply chain vulnerabilities within the last couple of years, about how there are problems. Like, we saw this going back to like Heartbleed, right? Like, gosh, that was almost 12 years ago now. Gosh. But because so much of what we do, and this I think is a great point with open source, like a great thing to be, considerate of. Like, it's amazing that we have all these libraries and all these resources, and that we can build on top of all these things and not have to reinvent the wheel. Like, that is ultimately better for security, to not have every person writing their own library and to be sharing, various things at the same time. And this is also a kind of an interesting parable, I think, for, where we are with AI coding in general. When you don't understand what all of your dependencies are, which none of us do, and when you don't understand what all of them do, you can sometimes have like, downstream effects that you don't even realize. Like the React router, like vulnerability that hit at the end of the year. Like, that was really, really bad. Like, that was one of the worst ones I've seen. And that was one where even if you weren't using those features, you could be vulnerable simply by having those packages in your project, right? And so like, that was like, even if you weren't calling them or whatnot, just simply because you had something set up that could have interacted with that, you could become vulnerable. And I think that's a thing that like we all have to kind of think about, especially with open source, which is like, it's amazing that like, what's the old adage, like, with enough eyes, all bugs are shallow. And that's true. But now there's so much more surface area and we don't have enough eyes necessarily to see everything. And so I think that means that we have to be
For sure.
extra considerate about auditing what is where and figuring out like how we can surface what dependencies each thing is using, so that we can hopefully be safer.
And I think for the most part, we have been for many, many years, and I'm guilty of that. We're like hella consumers, but and so we all rely on like the hero maintainers. The hero maintainer is gonna take care of it, and that doesn't scale, man.
No,
Like,
it does not.
That does not. You can't and it's not for lack of trying. Like I see some of the most incredible, more talented people in the world get burned out to a crisp, where they're just like, I'm out. I've done what I could. So it needs to be automated. It needs to be like boring, and just we need to stop relying on the goodwill of the hero maintainers out there, and everyone needs to be thinking about it.
We
Also
need to pay them.
Also pay them.
We need to pay them. We need to support them. It needs to be even beyond just like having things like GitHub sponsors is great, but it needs to go beyond that, right? Like if your company is reliant on a lot of these tools, that should become part of your budget. And I literally I firmly believe that if you are taking advantage of these tools, and it's great if you open source things back. And I'm not even saying that like from day one you need to like say, well, I'm going to give half of my income to the projects that I rely on. I'm not going that far. I am saying that once you start to actually have a business plan and make money as a company, the same way that you would set aside money to pay for a security researcher or to pay for, a software engineer or whatever, like you need to look at what are the projects that I'm dependent on, and am I actually giving money to those projects so that those maintainers aren't going to be so burned out.
Exactly. Right. I actually think it should be a requirement for enterprises to pay for open source projects because
I love that.
I do. I wish there was a tier where it's like it checks if you're an enterprise and if you're using X product that's popular, that you have to pay to use it. Because I don't think open source software should be free for $1 trillion companies or $1 billion companies. Meanwhile, it's one or two solo maintainers.
Yes. All right. Well, so here's what we can do, right? Let's share the sponsors link where you can look and see what dependencies you depend on. That is so redundant. But if you click on this little linky here that I'm gonna put in the chat, you can see what you depend on, and if you can throw them $1 or $2 or $3 or $20. Do that.
Speaking of things we rely on, I saw that one of our friends of GitHub, Nick Taylor, is in the chat. I think you're a GitHub star, right? He makes one of my favorite resources that I learned about in 2025, his newsletter, One Tip a Week.
Yes, it's so good. I'm a subscriber. It's so good. I'm a recommender of it, and you told me about it, and I was like so mad because hello, Nick, how come I knew you and I didn't know what you were?
It's such a good newsletter. So just amazing resources in 2025. That one has been one of my favorites. So
it's like one thing a week. I'm gonna put a link to it.
Yes, put a link to it. It's really, really great. Okay, well, so here we are asking for honestly, like. We can be in this hill, and there's a big conversation happening online about funding right now too. Like we just don't realize the depth of how dependent we are, and we work for a big company too. So hey, I'm not throwing it too far. I'm also catching it. I too bang my head against the wall. But we do what we can. We do what we can. All right. What else are we? Okay, that was what surprises from 2026. We talked about our dependencies, how much our expectations are now. Now we expect the Clauditos of the world to always give us the right answers. We talked about being surprised by the increase in security. Well, it wasn't really a surprise, but it's more like, oh, that sucked. And then what was the other thing that we recap with? And Cassidy's love of sunglasses and TypeScript when needed. All right. Yes, data bridges. That was it. Thank you for sharing the link to. This is the newsletter, friends.
Yes.
It's one tip a week.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, I have a question.
What other resources have you liked? Oh, have a question.
Yeah. So this comment critical thinking is done only by human beings. AI does not do it very well. What do you guys think about critical thinking in the age of AI and robotics? Because, you know, the robots are here too.
I love that. Okay. I'm going to share another link. I don't know if y'all read this article by Peter Steinberg. It came out in December, the last week of December. It's good. Read it on your own time, but it's good. But it does touch a bit about that the aspect of critical thinking, how agents are now taking over most of our work. But I still feel like there is the success versus failure rate increases the more detached we are from our own critical thinking, applying it to those tools. I don't know. I don't think everybody says like AGI is here. I don't know, Christina, how close are we? You might know more than we do.
I mean, well, here's the funny thing. Like the definition of AGI keeps changing, right? And so
Yes.
I think that's like an important thing to note, right? And so what we say and where we are, it varies. And so I won't even kind of engage like in those, like, I mean, we're joking here, but like I won't even like have a serious kind of like prediction thing of like, oh, when will that be here? Because it really, the answer is it just depends. That said, it is kind of an interesting thing just to see, like, sometimes we're so exposed to things just on the consumer kind of model side, right, of what we are able to use day to day versus what, if you read some of the papers or if you have a chance to visit some of the frontier labs and you see like some of the heavier work that is being done in certain ways, it is really interesting. And I think too, like, most of the time when we talk about AI, we're talking about generative AI, but that's of course only one part of it.
Our bubble, yeah.
Right.
That's one part of it.
That's only one part of it. And there are other parts of it too that are really interesting. And so I don't know. I'm not like at that point where like critical thinking absolutely matters. And I'm certainly not somebody who's like, oh, humans are replaceable, because that's not true at all. But it's also true that we're able to see, like, especially when it comes to some of the robotic stuff, there is really interesting things you can do, even with like relatively low cost, like robotic arms that you can like buy yourself and kind of play around with the programming with, even with some open models, in terms of teaching them things and control things that is not actually just, you know, okay, this is like the old world where you would kind of program like on an XY, like, you know, CAD interface, like this is move this many steps forward, lift your arm, do this, but where these systems will actually learn and kind of determine and figure out their own solutions to things based on, you know, the training set data and whatever else has happened, that is actually interesting. And so is that thinking? No, but I also am not willing to be like, okay, this is just, you know, fancy auto prediction, because it is a little bit more than that.
I have two thoughts. So first of all, some of the things that we saw last year were people kind of letting their AI agents go rogue, and then the AI agent would be just like, I apologize profusely. This was a critical error and stuff like that, but then they can't do anything about it because they just did it. It's not really apologizing. It's just regurgitating what a human would say.
Right.
Exactly. So there's elements of that, but also on just another end, have any of you heard of the author Robin Sloan?
Who that?
He wrote the book Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore. He wrote a book called Sourdough and another one called Moonbound, I think. But anyway, he's a very talented author, but he also writes a lot about tech, and he's a really interesting person to follow. And I'm going to share a link in the chat here. He does what are called pop-up newsletters, where he'll write like 6 issues, and then that'll be the entire newsletter. And one of his recent issues, which something you said, Christina, reminded me of, it was basically saying, if you were to ask us like 10 years ago about AI, the state of AI today, we would have said, oh, that's AGI. We made it. Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's the concept of the definition changing so much. There, you question it like, if we're here, yay, then what's next? A lot of people, I feel like, say, no, it's not here yet, because they want the graph to go up. They want to keep seeing growth and stuff. They don't want to say we have accomplished it. And so you can't really look to that as a metric, because for all intents and purposes, a lot of it is basically here. We didn't get the explosive, this is the one thing that's going to change everything. It's a very, very slow growth. There's a lot of things that AI tools can do, and yet we still need humans guiding a whole lot of them. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. We
No.
still need to have jobs and stuff. The things happen slowly in general for a reason.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, and this isn't unfair. I mean, again, I'm not trying to draw like perfect analogies because they're not. But I mean, even if you look at even how humans work together, right? It's not as if in most cases you let people just kind of run unfettered. There are usually people, in charge of them who are checking things out, right? Like in whatever hierarchy you have. I mean, sure, if you're an independent, maybe, yeah, I'm just going to publish whatever code I want and I'm going to write whatever I'm going to write and publish it and whatnot, right? But like, but there's usually a review process if you're doing something someplace else, right? You have to have, like, you're going to school and getting checked and having, people kind of guide you through those things. And so that's just, I think, a reality that, it takes a lot of individuals involved to do things. And so in that way, I think, yeah, obviously we're not at the point yet where I would call like AGI, where it's like, okay, this can work autonomously and I can feel like confident that without my, interference, it can figure out the right solutions and fix things and have higher level of thinking and that sort of thing. But that isn't to say that, when you're just starting out and trying to do stuff, that I don't still need to, or even if you're established, that I don't still need to, like, tap on Cassie's shoulder and be like, hey, can you look over this? Does this pass for you? Or that we don't still go through code review always, right? Regardless of who wrote things. So, that's just kind of part of it as well. I think sometimes the expectations, and I'm not even against this because I think that overhyping and overstating AGI really does all of us a disservice. But it's like, I think that the part of the reason the definition changes, in some ways, some people want to set the bar higher, and in some ways, people want to set the bar lower just so they can say they've accomplished it. It's like, in a lot of ways, I think some people want to set the bar higher to a point where you're like, okay, is this actually general intelligence, or what are you trying to achieve is like super omni, like better than, intelligence, Like,
listen, I don't know what, like, maybe the question is, what would you yourself consider AGI? Like, I feel like for me, nothing I've seen to this point can replace my taste in things, in coding, in design. And I'm a shit design. I'm a bad design. But my point is, like, you can like, taste is something that is not going to be
personality.
Yeah. Personality. Thank you. That's it. That's what I meant to say. No, but yeah. So I guess that would be AGI for me. The day that Claudito has the same taste, or like it's actually so deeply aligned. And then we're humans. We evolve the same way that, 5 years ago, I would have written something completely different. My tone, my expectation, my taste. So we're here to stay, my friends.
Yeah.
You can fake taste in code or in life.
You can't.
Period.
And I mean, we've talked about reviewing AI written articles as a team.
Yes.
You can just smell it from a mile away. It is unreadable.
It's everywhere.
It is.
And a lot of times, like, it's not even that it's inaccurate. It's just so hard to understand as a human.
Well, and sometimes, and I would go further. I would say it's soulless, right? Like, I think, which is kind of your point, like, Andrea, right? It's soulless, right? Like,
it's less than soulless.
Right. Like, I think that this is why, like, my primary use cases of AI are around code, because not to say code can't have personality, because of course it can, but it is a much more kind of this works or this doesn't kind of a binary system, right?
It's computer language.
Right.
You're communicating with a computer.
Right. Whereas writing and art and music and other things, like, there is this je ne sais quoi aspect that is different. When I was an editor, this was a million years ago, but this was like in the, pre world that we're in now. I remember having debates that were partially philosophical and partially not, with some of the data scientists that I worked with, where they wanted to kind of A/B test headlines, one that like a human wrote and one that like an AI wrote, and basically see which one would perform better and which would get like higher engagement. And this data science, very, very smart guy, like he was very confident with me. He was like, I will, the models essentially will be able to, and this was pre GPT. So this is pre Transformers. So this is like when stuff actually wasn't that good, but he was like very confident. He was like, the headlines that we can create and we can optimize for are going to be better than what any human can create. And I was firmly kind of on the opposite end. And I was like, no, I will always be able to, write like a better headline than a machine. Now I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I'm kind of accepting. I think especially, again, this was a pre-transformer thing when I had that opinion, where I'm like, with enough data, you might be able to engineer something that might come to a better place. But even then, like, I don't know, there's a part of me that's like, I think that these should be tools that we use to augment art, not to replace it. And I think that that's with writing, especially, like, I don't have a problem if you're using it to help with editing or for translations, or to, maybe give ideas. But when you do see something that's just been completely generated, it loses that soul a little bit. And there's a thing where, like you said, Cassie, like, you can smell it and you just go, okay, this isn't quite it. Having said that, I've edited a lot of really, really bad writers over the years. And I would be lying if I said that sometimes even the soulless AI writing isn't better than some of the human writing that I've had to edit. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not saying that I would choose either. I'm just being, honest, right? Like,
no, it is. Listen,
I mean, it's kind of like I've reviewed code that's worse than sometimes what an AI puts out too. So
I've written code significantly worse than what the I will say that, right? Like, I've written
1,000
significantly worse, right?
The thing is, I'm because I have taste, I can look at it and be like, this is disgusting.
Right.
Versus GPT will just tell me, this is production ready. Push it, baby.
Yeah.
So no, that makes total sense. Okay, so no AGI. Let's move on because we're gonna be stuck on this forever. All right, let's see about the comments. And thanks, friends, for commenting. Please keep commenting. It's just that our pink
there's
eyes
a lot.
are
So
trying to catch up.
Comments.
We will take what we can. I think this is an interesting point, though. What computing ethics is like now for CS majors, now that AI is so prominent, because that was not even really a topic when I took it in university. My university in particular made us actually take an ethics class, and I'm really grateful that they did, but it would be out of date now. I feel like a lot has to evolve. And I think a lot of things have happened at the same time. It's the rise of AI, the 2020 pandemic, and like a lot of formative years, and then also just how fast a lot of things are going. Computing just looks so different in general. Where I've talked with some students, I've talked with university board members and stuff, where they say that computer science majors nowadays, a lot of them will come in and they don't understand what a file system is. And like a 101 class has to explain, like, this is a folder when you put things in this folder, and they'll say, where have you saved something on the computer? And they're just like, in the computer. Like they don't understand right. Like putting it
inside
in a
the computer.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of people nowadays, or a lot of young people, grew up with computers that were designed more for users in mind, which is good, but they never broke the family computer. And so that happened. The people who have grown up with good UX are coming of age in university and starting into adulthood at the same time as AI exploding, at the same time as a point where we were all like very, very remote and at home. And I think it's a very interesting combination of things now at this point in time where universities now have to deal with this, figuring out how do we adjust our curriculum for a more modern time. So that way, like it comes in with different expectations of what a computer nerd is, because it just looks different. But then also, how do we teach where it's probably inevitable that someone will use AI at some point, but we still want them to use their brains. And they need to know why something is bad or why something is inaccurate, and not just like, I can just let it do it for me. And it's a really interesting moment, I think.
Do you think we had an advantage because there is like a pre and a post times, right?
Yes.
Like, do you think are we in an advantage point because we?
I think we had an advantage. Again, I think
I like that.
I think the fact, and this is me being biased at my age, and I think just most people over the age of 30 could probably say this, in that we had to deal with computers that weren't as optimized. We didn't have iPads growing up or anything. And so there were probably points and moments in your head where you could think, oh, I did something on the family computer and I have to fix it before my parents figure it out. And you just were like figuring out how to fix a thing. You just had to.
Right.
And
without
even,
Stack Overflow.
Yeah, even people who weren't developers or like really techie, chances are people had to mess with the computer in some way, shape, or form. A lot of people my era grew up playing Neopets where you had to customize the HTML and CSS or with MySpace and stuff. And like it wasn't just one click, it's done. You had to do some of that yourself. Things aren't as DIY anymore, which is not it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's so much more usable. My grandma knows how to operate certain things now that she couldn't have before, but we have that embedded in our systems now that we can figure things out, and not all young people now can or have that mindset.
Well, and I think it's a couple things, because I think one, you're right, is that like maybe like the systems are packaged in a way, where, your grandmother can use something easier and kids can just kind of jump in and use these tools and get them to do kind of what they want. But at the same time, because I think that there are advantages and disadvantages. I think that there are disadvantages that we have now too, which is like the way that like if you're over 30, that you engage with AI systems in many cases is different than people who, are like 18, right? Like the way that they can kind of instinctively work with some of these systems, the same way like if you see little kids who have never been exposed to anything and yet they can use an iPad or an iPhone.
Oh, it's wild.
Better than anybody.
They swipe things and just do it.
And these are kids who have not had exposure to these tools, right? It's just kind of like an interesting thing. It's almost like, okay, I'm just going to explore and figure it out, and I'm just going to do this. So I think there are some things there, but I think that what I have missed is that on the one hand, you're right, like things have become much more accessible and approachable in a sense. But if you did want to actually build something yourself, right? Like if you want to build your own webpage today, I've had this conversation with people before. So if I might be repeating myself, but if you want to like build a webpage from scratch today, it is much more difficult than it was 20 years ago. Like that's a fact. Like obviously, if you're just going to be using basic HTML and CSS,
right, you can throw an index to HTML somewhere,
right? Sure. But if you're wanting to actually kind of do something like from the ground up, like now you need to like know JavaScript, you need to know like a Node, you need to know like a framework of some sort, right? You might need to have some sort of like some other components. Like there are all these things involved just to get over that hump. Well, not even too much choice, but I think like technical complexity versus just editing, like something in Neopets where you can instantly see the change. And yeah, maybe you broke it, but then you can instantly fix it again, right? And so I think that like that isn't to say that there aren't still plenty of people who are happy to learn those processes and get started, but that barrier to entry, genuinely, it is higher than it was 20 years ago. And that, at least if you want to do it yourself, if you're not just wanting to use some sort of hosted tool, and that I think is a problem.
It's like higher and lower all at the same time, which is
I was gonna say,
yeah. Like we didn't have YouTube, and so and meanwhile now there's just thousands, if not millions, of free courses on YouTube. But like, it's again, there's so many choices. A lot of things are more complex, and a lot of things are almost overly simplified. There's a lot there.
Yeah, but even like if you're wanting to set up like a host, like okay, I want to deploy this, right? Like it used to be, okay, I get like shared hosting, and I upload like a PHP file, and like I can run through an installer, and I can have this served this way. Now it's like, okay, well, I need to figure out what type of VPS I'm using, and now I need to know a lot of Linux commands. I need to do a bunch of other things, or to your point, I need to be so much more simplified that I'm paying for a service that's deploying something from some other aspect. But like in terms of me actually having control over what I'm doing, it's if you're like 12 years old, like there's a higher barrier than there was before. And plenty of people overcome them, but I just think that's interesting. That I think you're right. It's like both higher and lower in some regards.
This is the page that I built. Oh, I'm sorry, Kadesha. You've seen the meme. Like I think the first time that somebody posted it, they were genuinely saying like, I quoted this and shared the local host.
Yeah.
Like that'll never get old for me. Like every time I see a tweet like that, I retweet it because I think it's hilarious. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so funny. Go ahead. I'm sorry, friend.
Hilarious. It's gone. Hilarious.
I think this also starts to come to like what people are building now too, and
Yeah.
something that I think we've all talked about at some point on this stream, on other streams, on our blogs in general, is the rise of personal tools. Because now, like, we can build things that might just be for us. Things aren't necessarily perfect and stuff. We don't need certain things to be perfect. We can vibe code say, like, make this thing just for me. I'm the only user of it, just so it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
And that's something that I feel like we're going to see a lot more of. Something that our CEO at Microsoft said at one point was like, this AI could be the death of SaaS, which I don't know if I would go so far as to that at this point. Maybe not. Talk to me in like 15 years and we'll see where we're at. But right now, I do think that it is the rise of personal tools where it just does that one thing well for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think maybe death of SaaS is too far, but maybe it is one of those things like for maybe personal SaaS, right? Because like we got into this place where it was like, oh, okay, I'm personally gonna have 1 million subscriptions or pay for 1 million small tools, and now it's like, well, actually, I can just maybe build my own that just does what I need to do, right? And versus I'm gonna pay for this, or for not this, because in my case it's like 6 different note taking services, right? It's like, okay, maybe I'll just focus on the one that I actually get value out of and like cancel the subscriptions for the other ones.
Link shortener. Didn't you somebody here build a link shortener for like their tiny, it was you, Cassidy. Yeah. I need to do that.
Hang on one second.
Hey,
it's
can you open
It's so easy.
Can you open source it so I can make my own?
I already did.
You did?
It's brilliant. Open source.
Yeah, hang on
Mine's
one second.
open source too.
I've got a short link to it, cast.run/shortener, but I'll paste it in here.
Please do, thank you.
Honestly, it's way easier than you would think.
It is.
I try to avoid the word just, but it's great. It's just a Netlify redirects file.
Beautiful.
So you make a repo and you do the redirects file. I added there's a library that you can use to like add things to it with the CLI, but you don't necessarily need that. You create a repo, you add the _redirects file, you upload it to Netlify, and then you add your domain. Boom.
It's so good.
It's so nice and easy.
But see, that's like a perfect. What would you say? It like, yeah, you're like, why am I paying for this? I can make this.
No, there's some little tools that I've made for myself, even in the pre-AI era, where like it is something that is not that cute. It's not great. There's actually a code pen. I'm going to put it in the chat here.
It doesn't have to be.
You'll look at it and you'll be just like, what is this? And yet this is a tool that I use multiple times a week. It does exactly what I need it to do. It converts a certain like link format where it's like someone's name, colon, and then a link to a markdown link and into a list. I use it all the time. And I feel like something like this, again, it's not cute. It does one thing specifically. It gets the job done. And we're going to see a whole lot more of that.
I like it. Somebody commented earlier about you can still host just a plain HTML page, but nobody does it because I lost the comment because it looks like it's 30 years old. But I feel like retro's back, friend.
It is.
Retro's back. So, which is great for people that have like zero design sensibility like me. I love it.
The interesting thing is sometimes like having those constraints, like, because there are some really good looking like websites that might have just really simple style sheets or really simple layout things. Like you can still make something look really good. Like if anything, I think that's honestly more of a like a challenge, to like make something simple, still readable and good. But yeah, you can absolutely still host an HTML page. It's just, it's harder to do that.
Yeah, there's netlify.com/drop. I've used that before where you literally paste or drag and drop an index.html file and it's online. And if you look at
amazing,
there is a rise in simplicity, I see. Like even if you look at Nat Friedman, the old GitHub CEO's website, it is a single page plain HTML file. I think some things are somewhat centered. But besides that, it's a bulleted list of like this is it, and it's kind of nice. I like seeing that kind of simplicity. Not everything has to be beautiful, whimsical animations, which I do like the whimsical animations.
Fair.
They're so fun, but it doesn't have to be all the time.
That reminds me. This morning I saw a website called, oh my God, is it called vibecode.diy or something? Where their philosophy on coding is like it should be fun. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to code to build a startup and everyone can code. Is their whole thing. So they made their site like super usable where literally anyone, regardless of technical background, can just go in and build something. And I think that's so beautiful. And I think that's why I love where we are. It's like vibes.diy. And I think that's why I love
Yeah. So the
I think
Firebase,
Looking this up.
Firebase.
yeah,
Yeah.
vibes.diy.
Oh, this is
I
cool.
went, yeah, and it's just like just build something and share it. Like it doesn't have to be so serious. It doesn't have to be a
Fireproof.
startup.
The Fireproof
You know,
people created
Yeah.
this. Yeah. This is fantastic. This is really fun.
vibes.diy. Yeah.
You know what I saw recently was Zoe Computer.
Mhm.
The URL is zo.computer, zo.computer, and it's a computer in the browser. So
Uh-huh.
it's using the browser as the operating system, and then it just
Ooh.
has like agents that can do anything, and they're slowly adding a lot of integrations, whether it's like GitHub, email, various things, and you could say, for example, summarize my inbox every morning or something, and or you could have it say, I want you to host an MCP server for me with this data, and like
What?
it just kind of has a lot of things that you can do for yourself, and it's meant to be like personal tools, like a personal tools operating system. It's really cool. I've only dabbled
That
with
is
it a
really
little
cool.
bit, but it's been interesting to see that angle of it.
What's the call again, Cassidy?
Zoe Computer. Here, I'll put it in the chat. Oh, there it is.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Let's see.
It's
There was
neat.
one comment. There was one comment I wanted us to pop up before we pop off. So Nicolas says, "What counts as a hero maintainer?"
Oh, that's
Mm.
such a good.
All of them.
I love that. I love that.
But
I love
also, I think when I think of a hero maintainer, I think of someone who is maintaining this open source, like without VC funding, without like turning it into a whole business or anything. They're just maintaining the code for the love of the game. Like I hope they're getting paid, obviously, and stuff, and that isn't part of it. But like they do this because they think that the tool should exist.
I like
That's kind of what
I
I
love
think in my
that.
head.
I love that. I think
That's
I was
pretty cool.
saying it in the more. Yes, obviously, every single maintainer, you're epic and awesome, and thank you for your service because we don't deserve you at all. But I was kind of being a little bit cheeky about how we're like we gotta have a hero that's gonna do it for us, and yeah, but yes, but all maintainers are heroes, and I love that. And get paid.
Yeah.
Yes. What about you, listener, watcher, tuner, person who's watching us right now? What surprised you from 2025 in open source? Or maybe we should ask a more direct question. Maybe let's get some projects that the community loves. Drop your links.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Let's
I would
do
love
that.
to keep some of the projects because there have been some fun ones this year.
I mean, I just saw
Some
two,
really fun
like
ones.
I knew Vibes. I never seen this Zoe computer. That looks fun.
Yeah.
Like, what is this funsies?
I love
Yeah, well, Cassidy is the queen of links, though.
I got so many
Yes.
links. Don't ask me too much.
You don't even know. In our Slack, we have like a management system for this.
For the Cassidy links that spam you.
Yeah.
One that we
And-
featured on the download this year was Vert.
Mhm.
And that one
Yes.
was that one's a
People
really cool
love
one.
that one.
Yeah. Vert's very
Yeah.
cool.
Tell us what Vert is for folks who might
It is
not know.
a file converter, hence Vert, convert. Verts.sh, convert image, audio, document, any sort of things, video,
Anything.
anything. And it's
I need to
done
use
on your
that.
device, so it's private. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, Cobalt Tools is another good one. Christina.
Shout out to that team. They're goated. They're building a browser as well that's trying to be all the
Helium.
things that yes.
Yeah, which is really cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Helium is cool.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other projects that anyone else found interesting? This Vert website is so pretty, y'all.
Mhm.
It's
I
so
like it.
pretty.
Yeah. It's really nice.
Also, for the folks listening on LinkedIn, we can't post comments or we can't paste our comments in the chat on LinkedIn. So if you're not seeing them, that's why
I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, I'm trying to catch up on them, but it does get away.
YouTube and Twitch, you will be able to see the links.
Yeah, you can.
I like this comment, but I don't want to put it on the. Oh, always says. I thought that said something else. This one.
Kadesha, this is a work stream.
Well, that's why I wasn't gonna put it up. My OSS highlight was Tailwind laying off 75%.
So that is.
I know that recently happened. Yeah,
but it looks like a lot of the community is banding together and supporting Tailwind, including GitHub. We're supporting the project, and people are supporting the project, and I think that's good because once again, maintainers should be paid.
Yeah,
maintainers should be paid.
Well, and I think that that's a really interesting one because you talk about something that is in some ways like, because they've historically have made money by selling, either paid services or consulting or other things, that they are able to advertise on their documentation. And then when people aren't accessing their docs ever, but yet they're having things that are using their components and are using Tailwind, using LLMs, like it's a real kind of gut punch, right? It's like on the one hand, like more people are using the library than ever before. And on the other hand, like it's become harder and harder for them to run a business, which is really unfortunate. So I am glad to see the community step up, but I hope that we can start to, like, as an ecosystem, think about like longer term solutions to these sorts of issues, because
it shouldn't come down to this.
No, but also this is going to happen. This is going to happen more and more with more and more tools, right? Where it's like, okay, because it's great that we can all kind of use our coding agents and discover and take advantage of these libraries, but we shouldn't forget about the fact that sometimes these libraries themselves either need to be able to advertise like what their services are, or ask for support, or whatever the case may be, and that sometimes these tools that make things easier for us can also have downstream effects that are really negative to the projects that we all really appreciate.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how SEO changes, because it already has been, but SEO is going to change a lot more. Where I think it'll be less buzzwordy and more like descriptive, I feel like.
Yes. What if we do some rapid fire answering? There are a few questions I just starred. What counts as a hero maintainer was the first one, so let's go through some other ones. So, wait, you guys are on Twitch?
Yes. Twitch.tv/GitHub. I accidentally did it the opposite way, where I did github.com/Twitch, but it's the other one. This one. We're on Twitch.
Yes, we are on Twitch. Okay.
I'm going to post that link on LinkedIn for you.
Yeah.
My friend.
Any tips for first-time contributors?
Read the docs.
Yes.
I love that question.
There's one of the tiny wins this year that GitHub released a ton of tiny wins for maintainers, where it's like small features that make a good big impact. And one of them was that you can now see the contributing guidelines in the sidebar of a repo.
Nice.
And so if you ever aren't sure where it is in your repository, look in the sidebar, and there will be a contributing guide there. And so read, which is a silly thing, but don't be too intimidated to make tickets and stuff. But also, it's like showing up and saying, "Hello, I'm here. Accept my code." You want to make sure that you're following the precedent that's already set.
+1. Yeah, read if there's a contributing.md file. Read the docs in general, and I would say, like, you don't need to be afraid to jump in and say hi, but like any other kind of community, like read the vibe. Get a sense of what the status is before just jumping in and being like, to your point, please accept all my code.
And honestly, like, if there is, and most open source projects that are successful have either a Discord instance, a Slack channel, a way that you can
even
talk about it,
discussions.
Beyond the issue, so you don't start working on something that you think maybe it's not a priority. Maybe somebody else has already picked it up. Maybe, like, it's better to have those conversations. Like, so before you start, you see the issue and you're like, I could do this. This is a good first time contribution. be a part of the community first. Talk to somebody. And for the most part, I think maintainers will prefer you do that instead of just submitting a PR. And then they have to be the beep that has to tell you, well, actually, we're not doing that now because, or it can be done that way because, and then close out your work. So,
yeah.
Yes. Nice. So is it necessary to learn the basics foundation?
Yeah.
Yes.
And like yes, you can create an app probably with vibe coding and it'll just work. There's a lot of people out there doing that. But if you want to go beyond that, understanding those basics and foundation is very important.
100%.
Next one. We are brand new to GitHub. We are here to learn.
Oh, it's a duo.
Yay.
I love this.
Hello.
Welcome.
Well, thanks for
Make
being
sure
here.
on YouTube, look for GitHub for Beginners. It's made for you, Brian and Regina. Go forth and learn.
Kadesha produces GitHub for Beginners, and it is a great show.
It's a
It's
fantastic
amazing.
It's a labor of love. I think those are all the questions I saw. Well, thank y'all for the questions. We do read comments always.
We do read them.
There's just a lot of comments.
We'll keep interrupting ourselves constantly if we address every single one too. So
yeah,
one thing at a time.
Look at this.
Should we do a prediction? Oh, go ahead. Go for it.
I've been vibe coding a terminal app using Spectre.console for the UI, and it connects to SQL Server and lets me browse table names and table schemas really quickly.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Okay, what were you asking? Predictions?
Yeah, let's do a prediction. Let's do for 2026. But let's keep them lighthearted. I just saw somebody posted about how like Stack Overflow is dead, and
have you seen the graphs?
It's bad.
It's wild.
Well,
I don't know. I was victimized by Stack Overflow.
That's the thing.
I was going to say we all have.
Yeah.
I was going to say, please raise your hand if you've been personally victimized by Regina George, aka Stack Overflow. And I'm like, yep.
But at the same time, it's a good resource that was the source of a whole lot of training.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And now live somewhere else.
Yeah, and that I think that is also a cautionary tale about maintaining a community well up front.
You bet.
Mm-hmm.
You bet. Mm-hmm. Yes. Astros, this is a fantastic resource. First contributions first.
Yes.
All right, so let's do predictions.
All right.
I know y'all like, are we gonna get off the stream? Like we got work to do. I'm just like, it's nice. We're never on a stream together. Like
I know. When it happens, we could probably yap all day. But thank you for keeping us on. So predictions for the next year.
Predictions. And let's not talk about acquisitions because we this is I want to deliver shareholder value to myself. But no, predictions overall in open source, maybe hopes. What would you like to see in open source this year? It could be a hope. It could be a whisper of a dream that you hope it becomes a reality.
A personal hope that I also think we might see reflected more. There's the meme of like everybody squats on domain names and stuff, but then they never build the project.
Yeah.
For me personally, that has been happening less and less because of AI coding and stuff. Like I actually kickstart projects way faster now. And so I wonder if that meme will go away or if people will squat on domain names less purely because they're actually able to create their project ideas more now.
So you want no judgment for the amount of domains that you own.
Just let me live.
Continue to buy.
I'm working on it.
I like that. I like that. Let's stop hating on the domain. So, that's like it's like the box of cables.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just they'll be important someday.
Yeah.
Genuinely, sometimes you don't know when you need like that like FireWire 2 cable from like 2012 until you're in
the moment you throw it away, you will.
And then you have to try to find it on Amazon and they're like, it'll take 12 hours to get here. And you're like, okay, but I need this now. Yeah. It's cool.
I love that. I love that. I mean, mine is boring and it's basically saying what we've been saying this entire time, right? Like I love to talk about sustainability. Let's gatekeeping. Let's do that.
That's
Listen,
mine. That's what I want.
there is like a small degree of meanness happening that I don't like. That I'm feeling a little bit of a vibe shift. Hopefully it's a cycle that, we will take care of it, and the collective we. The collective we of people who are not me. Hopefully we'll just push that off to the side. But let's be nice to maintainers. Let's get them paid and supported. And if you were my hope is that I loved what you say earlier, Kadesha. I mean, I wish there was a way that could be an enforceable thing for real, but I think it comes down to personal responsibility. And listen, the greatest advantage that we have is that the powers that might that have a certain mentality about the way that things are done and how you can be just consumer without giving back, and they're slowly going away. I mean, I'm not killing them or anything. I'm just saying, like, the industry is shifting. And if you're coming here new and you've been forged by open source, I owe my career to community in open source. So I'm always going to be a shield for open source. I'm always going to say maintainers should get paid. And I think eventually there's going to be more of us than of them. So
Yes.
That's my hope.
My prediction.
Kill a whole generation.
My prediction for the year is that we build our ideas instead of letting them remain in the editor. Get it out.
I love that.
Because we build all the time, but like, do you ship it and put it out into the world?
Right.
I want to have more public repos because there's a lot of private ones where I'm just like,
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
That's very fair.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That's very fair. Are you leaving ideas in your editor? Are you leaving ideas like at the PRD point, like you figured out what you want to do, and then it's just like
there are some ideas. There are some ideas that I've like thought through more now, where I'm just like, okay, AI has made this feasible. I could just ship this, and then as I go through that like design doc phase of just like, here's what I want it to look like, I'm like, this doesn't need to exist. And so I think that it's been good for that kind of product thinking to be just like, this shouldn't, I can cut this and that sort of thing.
Yep.
Yes.
I like that. Ship it and then have it security audit, please.
Yes.
Oh, this has been great, guys. I think.
Wait, Christina, what was your prediction?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know if I have like a great prediction.
Maybe a hope.
Here's my hope. I think my hope would be kind of building off of a little bit what you were saying, Kadesha, like that we get things more out of our editors, but also a little bit to what you were saying, Cassidy. Like, this is my own personal hope, is that like, like perfection is like the enemy of good, right? And so sometimes I feel like I personally am in a place where if I'm like, oh, I can talk myself out of shipping something or doing something, and it should just be like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to, I think what we're going back to saying before, like, it doesn't have to apply to a million different people. It doesn't have to be the best thing ever. But if this is fun for me, I can get it done and get it out. And like, that's an accomplishment in and of itself. And so I think that's my hope for myself for 2026. And I think that'd be my hope for all of you out there, is like, don't let, is this good enough or perfect enough, or is this going to be an acquisition target? Like, don't let that be the determining feature of whether or not you ship it or pursue it, right? Like, it's good to have editors, and it's good to be able to be like, should I spend all my time on this or not? Like, that's a good, it's good to have those conversations, but sometimes we just need to ship things.
Yeah.
Yes. And also, planning is a form of procrastination, folks.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
Yes, it is.
I learned this last year.
Please.
And I was like, oh my God. So like, stop planning your life away and, just embrace, like, execute the plan. Like, I dubbed this year my year of execution.
Good.
Yes, because it's just too many plans. Okay, what are you planning for?
Well, that's the thing, right? Because we've all been in those meetings where all you do is talk about the thing instead of doing the thing. And like there is like a balance. Like there is a problem like when you just do it and you don't have anything laid out, but you can talk yourself out of getting anything done. And I think that's the problem with planning sometimes, is that the plan can like you can talk yourself out of like, okay, well, this was dumb to begin with, or I'm never going to have this be perfect, or this is never going to be good enough. And it's like, no, just I love that, Kadesha, the year of execution.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think from a work perspective, because we are all at GitHub, this is a GitHub show. We should probably talk about that.
GitHub.
GitHub as a whole, I know there's been a couple questions about this, is really geared this year towards figuring out how can maintainers do better. How can we make maintainers happier? How can we make sure we reduce noise and maintain quality? How can we make sure that every single like nitpick that maintainers have been asking for can be addressed in a good way where it can benefit everyone? And I'm personally really excited about that. I was literally in a meeting earlier today talking about like all the overhauls that they're doing to issues to make it better for maintainers. So I'm very excited about that. So from the GitHub angle, because we gotta get paid, GitHub's doing a lot of maintainer stuff, and I'm very, very excited to see that. And I hope you all are excited too. Keep an eye on the changelog, because
keep an eye on the changelog. And also
cool maintainer stuff,
and also continue to give us your feedback, right? Because we really do listen to it. Like that's a really important thing. Like we read all your comments here as we pointed out, but we also listen to your feedback. And so if there are things that you're running into, and we try to listen to everyone, we can't obviously solve for everything, but like let us know. Like, you know, you can contact us on social, you can contact us other ways, in GitHub discussions, but like let us know, because we really do care. And like Cassidy said, that's a big goal for GitHub in 2026, is to make things better on our maintainers and the people who are building things, because without you guys, like
it means nothing.
And so much of what we do as an ecosystem, right? Like even taking GitHub out of it, like doesn't work without maintainers.
Can we give a shout out to one of our favorite maintainers of all time, the amazing Helen? Who's actually leading the team that is working on the tiny wins for maintainers.
Helen,
who is taking all the paper cuts, all of the pain, and
she's actually doing the thing.
Doing the thing.
Yeah. There's going to be a blog post coming out about.
I was just gonna ask.
Soon.
Yeah,
it's not out yet.
It's not out yet. Okay.
I helped edit it yesterday, so it should come out soon. But keep an eye on the GitHub blog. But that being said, also check out the GitHub community discussions.
Yes,
there people look at those. The GitHub community is great, and
there's a lot of PMs that live in there.
They love getting feedback in there. So check it out.
And listen, folks. I mean, obviously we all work at GitHub, but I'm with Christina in that. Speak your truth, man. And we know not everything is roses, and you have to tell us. And
the more we hear it, the more we can prioritize it.
Exactly.
Believe me, what is that saying? The 4 people on the screen will fight for you, and will bring your comments in front of the people that actually can change things done. So,
and also here's a dirty secret. When we hear things from the community, that helps us. Look, we all internally have things that we would like to prioritize as well.
Oh, for sure.
What helps us do that, frankly, is when we have proof and we can point to people in the community who've said those things as comments. So don't feel like afraid.
Don't never feel shy.
No, let us know.
Love to see what you have
tell
to
us. Call us. 555.
You are not invisible.
You are not alone.
555 Mona.
555 Mona.
We have to get that, right?
We do, actually. I was just thinking that I was like, we need to try to get like some sort of like automated tip line or something, or feedback line.
Yes, please. Hello, let's do an invitation. Folks, if you're watching this and you are a maintainer of an open source project and you would like to join us for a regular stream where we talk about your project and you get to demo it and things.
Yes.
Please come to us. Please. Come to where is the issue?
Also, while you look it up, someone asked if there's a Discord for GitHub discussions. There's not an official GitHub one, but the GitHub Next team has one, and they link it in their public repo here. And I am putting the link up. And the GitHub Next repo, they do indeed have a Discord.
Oh, that's right. They do. Okay, I'm gonna find And we take a very technology agnostic approach as the projects that join Open Source Friday. Basically, if you're building out for the community, our criteria is to empower you to come and demo and show the thing. And I like to say that our community of Open Source Friday is lovely, and they love demos. And I mean, I've been in streams where at the end of the stream, there is a PR already waiting for the maintainer that's demoing the thing. And that nothing just makes me happier than that. So please bring your projects. I'm going to post the repo here, and you can just follow the instructions, open an issue, and we'll take a look at it.
Show us your work.
Yes, we want to see it. Help us celebrate you. And hopefully get you paid too. Listen, I will plug your sponsor's profile to the end of times during our stream.
I love how GitHub treats developers as like, celebrities. That's literally why we're here.
We're not.
Are a celebrity.
We'll see. This is why we're wearing sunglasses, because we're like preparing to be on like the red carpet with you, the celebrity devs, right?
We think you are super cool, and it has nothing to do with the fact that I have pink eye.
Listen, some folks that joined later on the stream before when we did our disclaimer at the beginning, the speculation is wild as to the reasons why the sunglasses
it is because you don't want to see what's under here. That's all.
All right.
All right, y'all. Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Listen, friends. Before we go, hello.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm like, you're trapped now. They're like, I'm never saying yes to answering. No. First, let's say where people can reach you, where they can follow you, where they can join your servers and complain to you about everything, Cassidy. Somebody posted that. Just join Cassidy's Discord and complain to her about everything.
That server is just full of people that troll me relentlessly. They're lovely,
crazy.
but oh my word, I don't you people, but also.
But yes, please, lady, where can we find you? Where can you, Miss Kadesha? Where are you active?
Huh?
Yeah, share your things, man, so we can close.
Oh, I'm online. It's that Lady Dev everywhere. I love
I think
Instagram
so.
specifically.
These handles are pretty good.
Yeah.
These are good handles. Okay. Anything coming up for y'all
Alrighty.
that you want to share? I'm
I'm trying.
Yeah, I know. She's like, it's Friday. We got things to do. We'll get to see each other in person next week.
We gotta go.
In the places and things. And then, yeah. Oh, listen, one more thing. If you have a conference coming up and you would like to see one of these amazing faces speaking at it, please send it to us, because sometimes it's hard for us to like have a bird's eye view of everything that's happening. So
Yeah.
invite me. I'll come.
Also, I'm going to start cutting us off because Andrea's Wi-Fi is starting to struggle.
Okay.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.
Bye, y'all.
Happy New Year. Happy Friday. See you later.